Hey guys, it's Miss Clark. I am here to do Monday's lesson, which is Monday, October 5th, 2020. And our I can statement is I can add or subtract by counting on or counting back on a hundreds chart. Okay, so for our number talk today, we have 7 plus 3. So go ahead and solve that. Okay, if you got 10, you are correct. Give yourself a pat on the back. All right, next one, 7 plus 5 plus 3. Okay, if you got 12 plus 3, which is 15. So if you got 15, you are correct. Give yourself another pat on the back. Good job. Don't forget you can talk about these with someone at your home. Last one, 3 plus 6 plus 7. Okay, if you did 6 plus 7, which is 13, and then plus 3 is 16, you are correct. Good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. All right, so remember you should have paused in between those to give yourself some time to think. So now let's look at our vocabulary. So we have ones, which are, the ones in a number. And then we have tens. And then we have columns, which are columns in a hundreds chart. And then rows, which go across in a hundreds chart. Columns are up and down. Rows are across. Okay. Next part. So it says, practice skip counting by fives, tens, and hundreds. So we're going to continue to use clocks to practice counting by fives. So, see if it'll let me open our link. All right, so for example, okay, if I do a random time, okay, so I'm going to move it here. So if we're counting by fives, okay, so let's start by counting by fives. So on a clock, you would start here and go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, so this was at 1, so it's 1:25. Well, let's continue counting around the clock. So we were at 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Okay, so there's 60 minutes in 1 hour, or 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay, so what if I do another random one? Let me get my focus mouse. I do random. Okay, so looking right here, we have our tens, or it's on 10 right here. So we count by fives again. So we start here and go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. That's right. So remember, you're counting by fives to get around the clock. Okay, and then 55, 60. So this, are we quite at 2 o'clock yet? No, we're not quite at 2 o'clock yet. So it's 1:50. Okay, good job, guys. Now, let's do one more random one, and then we can count by fives, tens, and hundreds. Okay, because we're going to need that for our lesson today. Let me move that up. Okay, so now let's count by fives. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. Okay, so 55. So that's the minutes. Okay, now is it at 3 o'clock yet? No. So it's 2:55. Even though it's pointing at the 3 right now, it hasn't gotten to the 3 yet, to 3 o'clock, because remember, the 12 is o'clock. All right, now let's count by fives all the way to 100. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. All right. Good job counting with me. So now let's do tens. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yay, now let's count by 100s to 1,000. Okay, ready? 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Good job. All right. So now that we've counted by fives, tens, and 100s, let's look at the next part of our lesson. So we can use, we have a hundreds chart we can use if we need it. And then I want you to go to Module 10, Lesson 1. You're going to learn how to use a hundreds chart. You're probably like, Miss Clark, I already know how to do that. Well, there's no harm in reviewing from last year. So let's do the Are You Ready first. Let me get my page set up. Okay, zoom in. All righty. I'll move myself out of the way. So it says, are you ready? Complete these problems to review prior concepts and skills you will need for this module. Okay, so it's count on a 100 chart. Find the first number on the chart. Count on. Write the missing numbers. Okay, so the first number is 27. Okay, so let me get out my magic focus mouse. So we're at 27. So it says 28. What's next? 29. Okay, 30, 31, 32. So now 28. Oops. Nope. Why did I say that? We just saw it. See, that's why it's good to check your work before you continue. 29, 30, 31. Okay, now let's look again. So we're starting at 10. So find 10 on the 100 chart, 10. So the next one is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now we've got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now this one doesn't have the first number. It has it missing. So they tried to trick you, didn't they? But what number is after it? 80. So we're going to find 80 on the hundreds chart. What's the number before it? 79. So it's 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. You're counting by what? Counting by ones, right? So 79, 80, oops, that was backwards. Oh, well, 80, I'm having to write with my mouse. 83. Okay, good job. So go ahead and write that down. Pause the video. Okay, now I'm going to erase it. All right, next part. Use the number line to count on. So count on to add. Show your work on the number line. So 2 plus 8. So starting at 2, or actually let's start at 8 and count up 2 more. So 8, 9, 10, or 1, 2, we should have gotten 10. So on your number line, or on the answer line, write 10. Now it says 11 minus 4. Now it says count back to subtract. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. Okay, this is what I did in 3rd grade when I taught. So 11 minus 4. So instead of starting at 11 and going back 4, we can do that. Let's try that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, our answer is 7. Well, what about if I start at 4 and go up to 11? So if I count up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I still get the same answer? I just said 7 2 times. So that means our answer is 7. So you can count up or count back. Okay, so go ahead and fill in your answers. Okay. All right, let's keep going. All right, so lesson 1, you're going to use a hundreds chart. So I can add or subtract by counting on or counting back on a hundreds chart. So how can you find how many more children are on the bus that Karen rides? Okay, so let's look at our problem. It says Karen and Pedro each ride a bus home from school. There are 46 children on Karen's bus. Okay, that sounds important. So there are 46 on Karen's bus. Okay, there are 24 children on Pedro's bus. Okay, then it says how many more children are on Karen's bus. Okay, see, Karen has a lot more kids than Pedro does. So how many more are there? That usually means for this type of problem, it's talking about subtraction, right? Because there are 46 and then there are 24. So we're going to do subtraction. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to either find the number 24 and count up to 46, or you can start at 46 and count back to 24. So go ahead and see if you can solve it with your hundreds chart. Okay, now that you've had a chance to solve it, what I want you to do is look here. So instead of counting by ones each time, so instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, blah, 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 right? That takes forever. So to help make math more efficient or more or quicker, what you can do is, since our number, we start at 46, right? So I usually have my students circle their number they're starting at. So what I would do is I would count by tens first. So how many tens are in 24? There are 2. So we can count by tens. So if we go back 10, we have 36 and we have 26. Okay, so we've gone back 20. So 10, 20. Now, we need to go back 4 more. 21, 22, 23, 24. The number we land on is 22. Wow, that's really wonky, but that's okay. So 22 children. Okay, did you see how I did that? Instead of going one by one, I counted by tens because I knew that 24 had 2 tens in it. That's okay. If you didn't get it this first time, you can, we're going to practice a lot more. Okay, so go ahead and write this answer down. And erase for me. All right, let's move on. So Zed picks 29 apples. He gives 15 apples to his aunt. How many apples does Zed have? Solve the problem on a hundreds chart. Well, usually, keyword, he gives 15 apples to his aunt. So that means he's giving them away. So does he have the same amount now? No. So he starts with 29. So let's find 29 on the hundreds chart. Right here. This is all in your book. By the way, this is on page 232. Okay. So 231 was the page that we just did. Okay. So you should have your math papers stapled in there with you and not have the whole book. You should. Yeah. All right. So he gives 15 apples to his aunt. So that means we need to take away 15, right? Because he gave them away. So 29 minus 15. You're probably like, Miss Clark, I know how to do this in my head. Well, it's always nice to know how to do it on a hundreds chart. So 29. So let's do 15. How many tens are in 15? 1. So we can go back 1 row. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So see how I got that? I went back 10 first, and then I counted back 5 because that's how many ones there are. Oh, look, I went up a column. This is a column, right? And this is a row. Okay, see, vocabulary words are important. All right, so take a look at the hundreds chart. Write this down. Okay, let's move on to the next part. So down at the bottom, it's going to ask you some stuff. On the 100 chart, circle the number of apples that Zed picks. Well, duh, we already did that. B, on the 100 chart, show how you would count by ones to find the number of apples Zed has. Count by ones? Well, that's not very efficient. But anyway, I can show you how to count by ones. Okay. Move back up again. Okay, so we start at 29, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There, bingo. Still got the right answer. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. Blah, blah, blah. We got that. All right, keep going. So then it says solve. 29 minus 15 was what? 14. That was the answer we landed on. So Zed has 14 apples now. Then it says turn and talk. So turn and talk to someone at your house. If Zed picks 12 more apples, how would you use the hundreds chart to find the total number of apples he has? So if he had 29 apples and then he picked 12 more. So talk about that with your talking partner. All right, let's keep going. So Nick collects leaves for a science project. He collects 56 oak leaves and 23 maple leaves. Okay, so here are the oak leaves and here are the maple leaves. So how many leaves does he collect? A, which number could you start with on the 100 chart? So I would probably start with the biggest number, which is 56. So I'd find 56 right there and circle it. Then it says, I'm going to also write 56 right here. So then it says, how could you use tens and ones to add the other number of leaves? Just like we did in the last problem. We're actually one step ahead. So 56. So let's count by tens. Ready? Because there are two tens in 23. So we're going to say 10, 20, 21, 22, 23. So for this writing, we could say 2 tens. It's hard for me to write, like I said, with the mouse. 2 tens and 3 ones. Period. Okay, then I'm going to say use the hundreds chart to show the number of leaves Nick collects. Okay, so then we did. So now it says shade the answer on the chart. Well, we kind of did. We circled it, but whatever. I'm going to color it in. Okay, so he collected 79 leaves. Now, it says turn and talk. How is adding on a 100 chart similar to and different from subtracting? Well, first of all, you're counting forward instead of backward. But I would recommend you can also count forward for subtraction too. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So let me erase. Hopefully you got that answer. Remember, you can always go back. Ooh, boy. Use a 100 chart. Solve. Bingo. You got a 100 chart right here. So 67 minus 25. I'll show you how to count up with subtraction. So you might be like, Miss Clark, how do I do that? So you go, first of all, what are you subtracting? 25. So you're going to 25 right here. Okay. So you're going to count up to 67. This is our target number. We're trying to hit it, right? So if we count up by tens, we can get there. 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42. Bing, 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 bing. So 42 is the correct answer. Like that. So now the rest of them I want you to try and do yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to read them to you. 52 plus 35. And solve. Okay. Blank equals 48 plus 11. Okay, and then 96 minus 74. Good job. All right, let me erase. Now don't forget, you should be pausing after each problem and solving them. Okay. All right, on your own, I'm going to read it to you, but I'm not going to help you solve it. Okay. There are 86 dinosaur toys. Mr. Lee sells 14 dinosaur toys. How many dinosaur toys are there now? Blank toys. Then it says, explain how to find the answer on the hundreds chart. Okay, so you don't need a whole novel or book. Okay. Ignore the bell. All right, so it says, use a hundreds chart and solve. 43 plus 35, 23 minus 17, 65 plus 22, and blank equals 23 plus 17. Okay, then last question, it says, was I able to finish my work and what helps me stay on task? All right, so go ahead and fill in those answers, and I will see you guys later. Bye.